All right, so what we're going to do here is create a tile map that'll allow us to basically kind of draw out block by block our environments, which will be super duper pooper scooper beneficial. Okay, so first off, I need to, in my sprite, I need to, or in my sprites, I need to drop and drag my graphic. So I have this graphic here. I'm just going to literally drop it in here. There it is there. Okay, so I didn't make anything too fancy. I made it in the other video. So should come up. Sometimes this might be on one of these other ones. Just make sure it's Sprite 2D and UI. So we want to make it multiples because it's actually multiple images that we need to cut into it. And then you want to make this, I mentioned this before, but basically the 100 means there's going to be 100 pixels per square. So if these are 64 pixels, that means one of them would be roughly 64 out of 100 size. So it would probably be fitting in this area here. Okay. So typically you want to make this, if you're doing pixel artwork, the same number as what the resolution is, so that each element, each thing here is equal to 1 cube, just to keep things consistent. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and do 64 because I made these at 64 pixels. And then, oh, I'm also going to make it point no filter, so that way it doesn't smooth it at all. You may or may not want to do that. It kind of depends on yours. Then we're going to hit apply, and I'm going to hit the sprite editor, and we're going to go to slice, and I need to cut it up in a couple different ways. So I can do it by cell size or cell count. I think last time I did it by cell count. So it is 10 by 10 if I did cell count. So I would just type in 10 and 10 because it's 10 across and 10 down. But you can also do it by cell size. So mine are 64. So if I do 64 and 64, and hit slice, it's going to slice every 64, which is what my graphics were. So really, either one works. Then we'll hit apply. As long as you know your numbers. That's why it's not like a lot of math, but just know what you're doing. All right, so then we'll close that out. And now if I were to expand this, you'll see I have all of my pictures cut out. Okay, just got to make sure we get that done first. Now what we're going to do, I want you to do is go over to your assets and just create a new folder, create folder, and we'll just call this tile maps. And that's just going to be necessary because we're going to make some stuff that's just going to stick in there. Go ahead and go back to your sprites folder. Okay. Now we're going to do is start making our tile map. So if you go to Window, 2D, and then I want you to choose Tile Palette. Now, for some reason, it doesn't show up in here because it's occasionally, because this is, I think this is also one of those like plugins. Just go to Package Manager, and then you should see, I'm going to change this to just in project. You should see one that's Tile Map Editor. So you're going to want to switch to all packages. It's just if I do that, it goes on the internet. It takes a second. You're going to want to make sure that Tile Map Editor is on there. Just kind of like we had to do with Cinemachine, because I think Cinemachine wasn't on by default. Just make sure that that's on, and you should be able to, it should work, just in case. It should be there now, because if it's on mine by default, it should definitely be on yours. Anyway, so Window, 2D, and we want to do Tile Palette. Okay. Then what we want to do is we need to create a new palette. So basically the palette is what you sample from, kind of like a palette for if you're painting. You're going to sample here and then draw it out there. So create new palette. And I'm just going to call this background 01, just because in case I make more. Okay. And then we'll create. It's going to ask where to create it. And we're just going to go ahead and put in the tile maps. Okay. And we'll select that folder. Great. Now it says drag tile sprites, blah, blah, blah. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to drag this all up in here. And now, again, it's going to ask where do we want to put that. I'm just going to put that also in the tile maps and select folder. And it's going to generate a tile palette for us. And voila, we have a tile palette. And basically we can draw from here onto here. But you can like sample and do some other things too, but I don't really do much with any of the rest of this. You can look up more if you want with this. I can't, yeah, see if you look, I can't do it yet. So what we have to do is that we have this palette that I can use, but I need to have something to draw it onto. So to do that, over here, go to Create, 2D Object, Tile Map. And it's kind of like the canvas and UI system, where we have a canvas and then your UI elements go on it. Instead, it has a grid, and then you have your tile maps that go on your grid. And this is actually a lot better because what this is going to allow us to do is that we can make a tile map for our background, our midground, and our foreground, which is what I was talking about before when I was making these graphics, okay? So With this one selected, I'm just going to go ahead and we'll just call it mid-ground. I'm just going to rename it, okay? And we can start drawing on it, all right? So I'm just going to, I want to do this too, actually. Let's grab these platforms, and I'm just going to delete them because I don't need them anymore. If we might use them later on, we'll see, but probably not. Okay, because they don't match anything anymore. So now I just need to make my tile. So I'm going to click on this guy, and I'll go here. Then I'm going to click my middle one, and then here, here, and we'll click on this one here. See? Now we can also do it into a chunk. So if I click and drag, I can do 3 at a time. So we'll go boop, right? And then I can go boop. And we could go boop. And if I go, let's just, actually that one's fine. Let's extend this one. So I'm going to go boom. And you can just draw over top of them if you want. Okay? I'm just making sure that my end one is over here. And my other end one's here. Okay, so you can see, looks pretty acceptable. And now what I'm going to do is kind of click and drag these bottom ones, like so. And I'm just going to go like this. And, oops, let's go up one more. Good. Oops, went too far. If you go too far, you can just use the eraser here. And there you go. Go back to brush. And I'm just going to go here, and we'll go down. Oops, no thank you. Boom, down. And down, and down. God bless it. Undo. It's easier to undo. There. Okay. So, we got that. That looks pretty okay. I'm going to, just for fun's sake, I'm going to, I want to make it so that there's like a tunnel part here for this internal part that we did earlier. I just want to put that here. So I'm just going to go ahead and go like, let me see. I think 2 is probably in, let's do 3. So bump, 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 and then, oops, sorry, like this. That, so I don't know if that's too, let's just erase that. We'll just go up to that height, and then I'll make this whole thing a tunnel. That way I have enough room to jump in there. Okay, so I'm going to call that good on my mid-ground. That looks acceptable, right? But obviously it's, you know, it's not very robust, right? I didn't draw a lot, so you should draw a lot more. Okay, so we're going to call that good. Now, we want to add another tile map. I'm going to do one for the background here, okay? Actually, we'll do one for the foreground first. So, mid-ground, I'm just going to create. I think it'll automatically go to this, but you might want to just click on it just to make sure. So, I'm going to go create, 2D object, tile map, and it's going to create another one. So, this one, I'm going to name this one foreground, okay? And I'm just going to drag it above the other one, although this won't matter in a second. You'll see why, but I'm going to put it there. And then I am going to grab this one, which is my corner one for my grass. And we'll put it here. It doesn't matter if it was there. I'm going to draw over it there. Probably not going to see it up there anyway. Here, here. I'm putting it on the left side, right? And then I will grab, let's say the right one. Here, here, here. I'm going to do a good job matching these up. And good. And we got to do one up here. And then I'll grab the middle one, and we'll just go boom, oops, boom, and then boom, boom, 2 of those there, and then do. You can just click and drag too, also paints it, okay? I didn't do a lot for foreground, so that's all I have, but there that is, okay? Great. Now let's do background. So I'm just going to go to create, 2D objects, tile map, okay, and select the one that's going to be my background, and we'll call it background. And for that, I'm just going to go ahead. I'm just going to click and drag all 3 of these to make it a little bit easier. And I'm going to click and drag up like so. Let's go one more down. It'll be behind the other one in a second, but that way, I don't know if you saw that before, but see how there's a little bit of a little transparent part there? That way it'll overlap that. And then the other thing I want to do is this tree, right? So I could go like, okay, trunk, and then this, and then maybe do a couple of them, and what have you. Or if I just click and drag across the whole thing, you can literally just go boop, right? Maybe put 2 trees here. And I think it looks better closer. And then we can put one here, and then maybe one on the side here, this, okay? And that's all my background stuff. So this will be behind my player. Woohoo! Okay. And you can do a lot more with that, but you get probably the rough idea of it, okay? So I have foreground, mid-ground, back. You don't have to do it this way. I just like doing it this way because it gives me a little bit more to work with. So right now, if we were to play the game, my dude's just going to straight up fall through it, right? One reason is that this needs to have a collider on it, right? But it's a little bit weird, so I'll just show you. So first we're going to do is add component, and you're going to do Tilemap, because I don't think it shows up otherwise, but you want to do Tilemap collider. And it's going to create a Tilemap collider. Make sure you're on the midground, okay? And that's fine. But what you're going to notice is, see how it's putting it actually on each and every square? This will work, actually. This totally works. But it's not the most efficient, because that's just a lot of, I mean, you're basically calculating inside where you're never going to be. So that's not great. So the other thing we're going to do is we're going to add another component, and it's going to be, I think it's composite collider 2D. And it's automatically going to create a rigid body force, because for whatever reason it needs to have that. Once you've made that, you want to go ahead and select, where are you? Here you go. See this Tilemap collider? See how it says used by composite? Check that on. That needs to be done. This needs to be on there for that to happen. Now, if you look, you'll see that the collider, there's no colliders on the inside. It's actually just kind of doing the outside edges, right? Yay. Problem is, if you were to play this game now, what you're going to see is, as soon as you hit play, the ground is just going to fall because it has a rigid body. So I'm just going to go ahead and convert this to static. And that will make it so it just doesn't move. It's not dynamic. But it does have a rigid body, so the other thing will still work. And if we were to play, this should hopefully function. Let's just double check. Good. All right. But you're going to see no jumpity jump. And it's pretty obvious why. It doesn't have, with the mid-ground still selected. I just want to make sure I go ahead and put ground on it. Woohoo! All right. Now, one thing that we haven't done, now it will work when we go to jump, okay? One thing that we haven't been doing, and you may have known, like look at now. See how this is now behind it? The background was? Remember before it was in front of it? Because what's happening is this. I have these objects, and we do have these transforms over here. Like, a lot of these are moved back on Z, although none of these are. I wonder if my player is. But we want everything at 0 anyway. Well, that should be -10. But everything else should be zeroed out as far as the Z is concerned. So, like, the depth. But what's actually determining what's in front of something else is actually not the Z. Because we're using an orthographic camera, it sort of disregards that. The way that you put something in front of something is this. So I'm going to start with the player here, and then we'll work. Actually, you know what? We'll stay down here. So I'm going to go to mid-ground and foreground here. There's a thing down here that you'll see that's on whatever the renderer is. So this one's Tilemap renderer, but there's also sprite renderer. And you'll see where it says sorting layer. This isn't for the heffalumps and slither peas or whatever the heck I don't know what the Harry Potter things are, but whatever those are, I'm an old man. That's what this is for. So what you can do is you can create sorting layers, and then you can have the order in layers. So right now there's just default. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this. We're going to add a sorting layer, and then hit plus. And then I want you to do foreground. Add another one. Mid-ground. Add another one. And background. Okay. All right. So, good. So now we have our 3. We have foreground, mid-ground, background. I think I might have done that backwards. Let me just double check something real quick. So let's take you. I'm just going to take the player, and we're going to put you on mid-ground. Let's put you on, yeah, we'll put you on mid-ground. And then I'm going to take, let's say, let's put you on mid-ground, and then I'm going to put you over here. Okay. That looks like it's on front of it. And then let's take the enemy here, graphic, and let's put you on, let's say we put you on background. Okay, yeah, so I did do it backwards. Okay, so we got to move those around. All right, we'll fix that in a second. So so now what I want to do is I'm going to move these around. So I'm going to go to my foreground one, and I'm going to go to my layers, and I'm going to go to the adding sorting layers, and I need to shift these around. So background should be over here, then midground, then so it should be background, midground, foreground. So what's on the bottom is the most front. Okay, so wasn't sure, I couldn't remember which way it was. All right, so like that. So let's go back to the foreground. I'm going to take foreground, and I'm just going to go ahead and put it as foreground. Okay. Now you're going to see this order in layer. Basically what this does is that I can have a bunch of elements in foreground, right? But I might want some elements in the foreground to be in front of other elements. So you could literally do no sorting layers and just have everything default and just do it through this order in the layer. But I think it's better to keep it organized. So I'm just going to go ahead. I like to just put like 100. And that way I can go from 100 to 0. You can go up as high as you want, but you can't go below 0. So 0 would be the most back of the foreground. So I'm just going to go ahead and put 100 on there. And I'll just do all of these at 100. And then we'll go from there. So the midground will be midground. I'm going to put in 100. And then the background will be background. And this will be 100. Okay. Great. Now what I can do is select the various objects in here and work with them in here. So with the enemy group, I'm actually going to go ahead and just open the prefab. So that way I'll do it for all of them. Remember, that's why we did prefabs. So if I go to my enemy group, I'm going to select my enemy here because it's based on the graphic. And we're going to make this one a midground. And then let's go ahead and put this at, let's say, 25. Okay. Because for the midground, I'm going to put the player as 50. So I'll say 25. So that'll give us a little bit of a group space between. And now all of them will have that. I'm going to go to my player. I'm going to go to here, so midground, and let's just do 50. Okay. And then let's go to door. We'll do, let's see. Let's do 75. We'll put the door somewhat in front of it. Oh, actually, let's open it first. Put it on midground and 75. Because it's a prefab, it needs to be done like that. Okay. That way they'll always be that way. And we'll grab this and we will open it. Okay. And let's go ahead and do, let's say, 10 for my life. This just gives us room to open this one. And then make sure I have midground. I don't know if I did that on the other one. And let's do 15, or actually we'll just do 11. So it'll be next to the other one. Okay. And back up. Did I do midground? I did not. I know I didn't. Crap. Okay. Make sure you're, oops. Midground. There we go. Okay. Back. We did point. Okay. So now everything should be working as we would like. Midground. It says midground. Background. Oh, background. I put on the wrong one. You might have noticed that. Background. There we go. Foreground is on foreground. Okay. Because I noticed it was in front of him. Like, that ain't right. Okay. So now, if we go to play the game. Oh, actually, let me unplay it because some of the items need to be moved around a little bit. Unplay it. Okay. Let's go ahead and take this enemy. I'm going to move him over here, and I'm going to move his blocks around. So this one will put all the way over here, and his left one all the way over there. Let's go to the other enemy, and he's got to go down, and that's probably fine. The point we can just put there, and my life I'll put over here. And then where's the door? The door can be right in front of the tree here. There. Great. Now we'll hit play. And so now if we go to play the game. Oh, good. I got out of there. Okay. You can see that we have this wonderful little world. Did I go far enough? It looks like I did. Okay. Oh, no. You got me. Oh, no. I need another life. Crap. That was not good. Wait, did I kill him? Oh, I must have. Okay. Yay! Yay! Okay. Well, you can see, right? We've sort of made this game world. And you can... Oh, no! 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 Crap. Alright. That didn't work out. But you'll see that basically the little grass pieces are in front of my player. So notice that my player's behind the little grass pieces, but he's in front of the trees. And basically we can go ahead and, make all those things work. I don't feel like that added a life. I feel like that might have got messed up. All right. Does this add a score point? Ah, crap. Well, that death's definitely working. Okay, that did add a score. Okay, so, yeah, that's basically it. So, what I would tell you to do, though, is try to make the most robust tile palette that you can. So even mine isn't really as robust as it could be. But hopefully you got an idea of how it works. And it's really fun because once you've made all your parts, you can just make a whole world, right? You just need to make all those graphics, then you can build it up inside of here, and it's much more efficient because it's just reiterating the same images. And so it's super efficient as opposed to having to draw just one big piece of artwork. Yeah, there you go. And now we are good.